Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Bensalem Township Council meeting. Today's date is August 26, 2024. I want to ask you to please rise for a moment of silent meditation or prayer. I want to follow that with the Pledge of Allegiance. With the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to introduce you to those of us at the dais this evening, so you know who we are. We have our Township Engineer, Nicole Kahn. We have our Township Executive Secretary, running around, Debbie McBreen. And we have our solicitor, Joe Pazza, to my extreme right over there. Our township council members are Michelle Benitez, Joe Polari, Joe Knowles, Stacy Champion, and I'm Ed Kisselback. We'd like to begin with the public comment, which is agenda item number 3, which is limited to the agenda items only. If anyone would like to come up and comment on any of the agenda items, you're welcome to do it at this time, as well as when the presentations are being made. So you have those two options. Agenda item number 4, approval of the council minutes. That's for the meeting of July 22nd, 2024. Everyone's had an opportunity to review them. Are there any changes, deletions? If not, I'll ask for a motion to be made to approve as presented.
I'll make a motion to approve as presented.
We have a motion on the floor.
I'll second the motion.
Second on the motion, all those in favor signify with an aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any against, any abstentions? That is unanimous. Moving on to agenda item number 6, which is a consideration of a resolution for an intergovernmental agreement to participate in the grant application for Towns Against Graffiti. Mr. Pazzo, you want to take this real quick?
Certainly. Actually, for this evening, the Township Finance Manager, John Chakowski, is with us to make the presentation on item 9, and he's also prepared to speak to Council on items 6 and 7 as well, Mr. Kisselback.
That's wonderful. John?
How are you? Good evening, everyone. As we do every year, in front of you is a resolution to submit to the Bucks County Redevelopment Authority for the application for the Towns Against Graffiti. Is obviously a intergovernmental agency that works throughout Bucks County, removing graffiti throughout the county. So this year's request to the Redevelopment Authority is for $165,000. That, along with the contributions of the other municipalities, will be able to fund the program for the 2025 year.
Okay, and this involves all of Bucks County, and Bensalem is the lead agency in this endeavor.
That is correct.
Okay. Any questions? We do this every year, ladies and gentlemen. Not hearing any, I'll ask for a motion to pass the resolution.
That we approve the grant application for Towns Against Graffiti as presented.
I'll second.
Motion on the floor, second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any against? Any abstentions? Number 7. I'll just stay up there for a second, John.
Sure.
Consideration of a resolution for the Municipal Grant Program for funding of the integration of Police Record Management System, RMS, and that's through Bucks County. Again,
Yes.
We do this every year also.
We do, yeah. So this program works with multiple municipalities, police departments, in sharing record management information within their record management systems, and it allows faster response time for any type of interactions with people when you're doing a background check or something to that extent in the police department. This year's grant is going to go up a little bit due to contractual increases in the computer software as well as storage capacity. So this year we're requesting $118,900.
Okay, that's the amount. We know what's happening. Any other questions from the council members? Not hearing any, I'll entertain
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
And Bensalem's the lead on this one,
We are,
too?
yes, sorry.
Okay. And this comes from, I'm sorry, what part of the Redevelopment Authority?
Yes, this is another redevelopment authority grant that they've supported in previous years. We don't expect that they won't support this again. However, we as the lead agency, we do the submission.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I'll ask for a motion to be put on the floor.
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution for municipal grant program funding of the integration of police record management system.
We have a motion on the floor.
I'll second the motion.
We have a second. All those in favor signify with an aye. Aye. And against, abstentions, that is unanimous. Okay, let's go on to, let me see, pension financial requirement. Agenda item number 8, which is the presentation of the 2025 pension financial requirement and minimal municipal obligation by the Deputy Director of Administration.
Thank
That
you.
would be John.
That would be me. So as we do every year in compliance with Act 205, the actuary has prepared the 2025 minimum municipal obligation for the police, the non-uniform, and the non-uniform defined contribution pension plans. And again, there's no action that is needed by council. It just has to be read into the record, into the council minutes. The amount for the police defined benefit pension plan, the township's contribution will be $5,588,330. The non-uniform defined benefit pension plan is $420,074. And the non-uniform defined contribution pension plan is $320,000 even. So every year, to help us offset these costs, the state does provide funding that would help offset this cost. Last year, we received approximately $1.7 million from the state towards these pension fund obligations.
Okay, are there any questions on this?
Which
We
is how
have
much
the
of a
three of them?
percentage of the total?
It's a very small percentage, maybe 3 in that ballpark.
Of the total of the, from
Yeah.
the state towards this?
So, well, it's all based on whatever the state has allocated for it. So there's not a set percentage. It's all based on what the market does for the state as well, that they contribute to the township. So it varies from year to year. I don't know what it'll be for 2025 yet.
In the past, do you know what the average has been, like in terms of
It's around 1.6, 1.7 million each year.
the total $6 million?
Yep. And again, this number will vary as well based on the markets, so.
What are you, an accountant?
Nah, not at all. Not at all. Haven't been one for 30 years. Yes, I've been one for 30 years
Okay,
or more.
very good. Any questions here? So we need no action on this?
Nope, no action at all,
Just
just
a
in case you have any
presentation
questions, I'm
with
here.
the figures.
Yes.
And you had one question to ask. Anyone else? Any other questions? Not hearing any, then we'll close up agenda item number 8 and
8.
move on to number 9.
Very good. Thank you very much. Have a good
All
night.
right, thank you. Thank you. Number 9, consideration of a public hearing on an ordinance. This is vacating an abandoned 10-foot alley on Clover Nook Avenue between Bucks County tax map parcel 02061-179 and Bucks County tax map parcel 02061-184. And we have someone here. Will you want to come up?
While the gentleman's coming up,
What's that?
Mr.
Oh, I'm sorry. You know what? Hold on for a minute. Before we do that, I don't know why I skipped you, Bob. I knew you were in there. I missed this gentleman on agenda number 5. I just jumped over it for some reason. I don't know why. You have your timer ready?
We're all human.
Okay, so I'm going to sit you down for 1 minute, if you'd be kind enough, and have Bob Norkus come up and make his presentation. I don't know how I jumped over that.
I thought maybe you were doing it after the other stuff. Yeah.
Oh, okay, but still.
Sorry about that.
He should have gone first. But that makes sense, getting John out of here, right?
So you can come to the kids.
All right, you can introduce yourself to us and explain to us why you're here this evening, and we'll take it from there. Robert?
Well, thank you, everyone, for the time. I'll be as brief as I possibly can on a subject that is very broad and very extensive, actually. It's a item that the Economic Development Corporation has been considering for a while, and we've decided to bring it to your attention. For those of you who may not know me, my name is Bob Dorcas. I'm the Executive Director of the Bensalem Economic Development Corporation, the BEDC. Our board comprises of an exceptional team of community members and business leaders who represent Bensalem companies of all sizes. We work hand in hand with Bensalem's administration, the police department, zoning, and other township offices to make sure that our work is integrated with the Bensalem overall master plan. If you haven't visited our website, I encourage you to do so. It's bensalemedc.org. We spent a lot of time and effort on bringing that into play, and it's very informative. You can learn more about us and our services there. Like many, our organization is currently hampered by the upside-down business world of post-COVID. Malls have been disintegrated, and there's a retail slide and a labor squeeze, and these trends affect us all. So consequently, our organization is doing everything we can in the shifting environment for now, and we are thinking more in strategic terms for the future. On that note, I'll be asking the BEDC board to consider a strategic business development plan for Bensalem Township, similar to what the state of Pennsylvania now has in place, which I deem to be excellent approach and very appropriate. The state plan has a very strong focus on the commitment to the development of Pennsylvania Main Street communities over the period of the next 10 years. The initiative is called Main Street Matters. They are applying significant resources. The guidelines are not out yet, but they're applying significant resources to assisting existing and new Main Street developments across the state. My purpose to coming to you before you this evening is to offer assistance in conducting a strategic feasibility analysis for a Main Street in Bensalem Township. We're doing that with a destination and a deeper sense of community for Bensalem. We are a transient community. Perhaps we could have a stronger identity.
Excuse me, Bob, could you speak up just a tad?
Speak up?
Yes, thank you.
We could, there we go, I can now hear myself. Thank you. Yes, we're looking for a sense of identity and a deeper sense of community. The BEDC considers the two properties the township owns on Byberry and Knights to be worthy of consideration. That would be the existing property here and the property across the street, which is a large vacant parcel. There's reasons for that idea, which I'll explain momentarily. The BEDC has consented to orchestrate and fund the analysis completely for the greater good of our community. We will bear the workload and the funding to do this in an incremental manner. Nothing that would be over the top real quick, because we don't want to go someplace and then find a problem. We'll be very methodical about this approach. You see, there's an undeniable yearning for a return to Main Street, not just in our country, but globally. The building of new Main Street centers or the transformation of existing locations has evolved since the late 1980s, which simply means the current wave of designs are proven and more acceptable. So today, I'll share some insights about the exciting opportunity that lies at our doorstep, the potential for an authentic, sustainable town square right here in the center of our township. As we consider this vision, it's essential to recognize the importance of conducting a strategic feasibility analysis, one that is phased, meaning small bites of the apple. This analysis will guide us in making informed decisions that will ultimately benefit the community for generations to come. I've asked the BEDC to orchestrate and fund the analysis in keeping with our purpose, which is to create the best possible environment for business and economic growth for our community. The BEDC is extremely mindful of the scope of the project, the breadth of change involved, the inevitable objections, and the reluctance of some to engage in considerable strategic planning. I happen to believe that in 30 years from now, our next generation may wish this initiative was strongly considered and quite possibly initiated. First, let us reflect on what a town square truly represents. It's more than just a physical space, it's the heart of a community, a place where we gather, celebrate, and connect. It's a venue for the best local restaurants, farmers markets, festivals, art shows, family gathering, park spaces, and walking paths. It serves as a backdrop for the creation of lasting memories and shared experiences. By establishing a town square, we could foster a strong sense of community, creating a true destination where residents and visitors alike can come. Conducting a strategic feasibility analysis is vital for several reasons. First, it allows us to evaluate the existing semi-adjacent properties owned by our local government right in the center of our township. We must understand how these spaces can be transformed into a vibrant town square. This analysis will help us assess the physical, environmental, and social aspects of our chosen site, ensuring that we make the best use of our resources. It's important to keep in mind that most town center projects fail because of one dominant obstacle, and that is private property ownership. At some point in the process, a feasibility analysis will help us to determine the financial implications of such a project. While just the mention of financing appears to be insurmountable, the best of the developers welcome the challenge. The sensible approach is to have a master plan, one which stages the project over a long period of time. The initial build captures the dream, perhaps like a pleasant old-fashioned park with a clock tower, something like that. We must explore funding opportunities, potential partnerships, and sustainable business models that can support a town square. By evaluating cost and benefits, we can make a well-informed decision that balances our budgetary constraints with our objectives for long-term community development. Importantly, this analysis will also engage our community in the planning process. By gathering input from residents, local businesses, and stakeholders, we can ensure that the town square reflects the values and desires of our community. It will serve as a canvas upon which we can paint our collective vision, a space that embodies our identity and our aspirations. Additionally, we must consider sustainability in our plans. A town square designed with environmental stewardship in mind will not only enhance the beauty of our township, but also promote responsible resource management. By incorporating green spaces, eco-friendly materials, and sustainable practices, we can create a gathering place that honors our commitment to the environment. Lastly, the establishment of a town square will contribute to the overall economic vitality of Bensalem Township, which, of course, is the objective of the BEDC. A well-designed, accessible space will attract tourists and residents alike, invigorating local businesses and creating job opportunities and attracting talent we need to staff new and existing businesses. It will set a higher standard for future commercial development. It will also serve as a hub for cultural and recreational activities, enhancing the overall quality of life for all who call Bensalem home. In conclusion, conducting a phased strategic feasibility analysis for a sustainable town square is not just a step towards physical transformation, it's a commitment to strengthening our community. It's the first critical step we should take so we can make informed decisions. It lays the groundwork for the opportunity to create a vibrant gathering place that fosters connections, celebrates our culture, and enhances our local community. Again, the EDC is offering to support a strategic feasibility study for a town square in Bensalem, and we offer this proposal to embark on this first phase. I have a very short PowerPoint presentation to share with you, and if I can pull that off electronically, then we're in good shape. So this is the existing properties that I referred to. One is vacant land, and one contains the building that we're in and other buildings. There's considerable acreage here. That's why we zeroed in on those two pieces. A Main Street town square developments, whether they're modest village centers on the suburban fringe or bustling urban district sites, have attracted intense interest from the real estate industry in recent years. There's also a growing appreciation amongst community leaders, planners, and policymakers that town centers can support smart growth goals. The public apparently agrees. In 1995 American Life survey, 86% of home buyers expressed a preference for mixed-use town centers clustered around village greens. The common thread is a deep sense of community. The two parcels that are owned by the township are on the corner of Byberry and Nice Road. As you see, I'll get once again to the right. The advantages are full control of the property. There's no other owners. Zoning and everything else usually kills the ability to have build a town center. It's established, the essentials are in place, the size is perfect, and is centrally located within the township. It is a very strategic project in nature over 10 or 15 years or more. And if we look at this map to your right, to the right of the screen, this is just a thought. So, again, that's a very long-term notion. I think that this is very important, this particular slide. It is an excerpt from the 2023-24 Comprehensive Plan draft by Pannoni and Associates. I think most of us know that they are a very recognized engineering and consulting firm, and they have been working on our comprehensive plans for a number of years. And this excerpt is a review of past comprehensive plans for the years 74, 88, 2002. I highlighted the 1974 plan because it contains a message about a town square. And that message is, the plan recommended medium and high density urban development as well as an urban town center centrally located in the township. It was 1974, and that particular idea, again, was expressed by Pannoni in a later version of the plan, comprehensive plan. I'm only showing that because I think it adds credibility to the notion that a town center would be beneficial. These people certainly know what they're doing, and that's why it's there. That slide is the final slide, and it hopefully gives you a feeling of what a town center would do for Bensalem. That's all I have.
Are we allowed to comment?
Absolutely.
So, I'm going to be blunt. That is not acceptable. That is open space for our township. We utilize that already to bring our township together with the amphitheater and other things we do on township property. It's utilized as open space to protect the environment. I do not want to see any high density in any of those trees. At one point, everybody complains that we're no longer a tree city. Those are part of that tree city. I do not want to see them taken down. I am very adamant about this. We also have, if I'm not mistaken, 100 and some odd acres of water that goes through that area, that comes across and gets to the Bequesson Creek underneath Street Road. We take away trees, and I don't care how much stormwater management we put in place, I don't see this as any good for our township. And I'm being perfectly blunt. And
I would say so.
so I can tell you that the feasibility study for this property and taking away open space our mayor has gotten for our township is not acceptable. So, I'm done.
Well, I certainly appreciate your point of view, and the open space is an important thing, and a town center would incorporate
No, it
open
would not,
space.
it would not take away that many acres, it would not give us that many acres of open space for the deer, for the wildlife that are still in this township.
Yeah.
So I am sorry, there's nothing that can convince me to take away all those trees, all that open
Oh,
land.
no. No,
You're-
nobody's
we-
talking about taking the trees away. In fact,
Where are you
they're-
going to put this? How are you going to have a town square without taking away trees?
I'm not a designer. Panoni or somebody like that is a designer who
So
utilizes
I don't want to
existing
waste our
space.
township's money or the
No, I didn't have
EDC's
an
money
opportunity
to
to
do a
finish.
feasibility study
You-
at Byberry Nights.
Yeah, you cut me off. So if that's your position and that's your attitude, then fine.
I have suffered at the expense of all that water. My family has suffered, and we're already looking at ways to try to help people downstream of all this water.
Yeah, well, I think we have a difference of opinion. I think that you're looking at it as a destruction of high-quality property, and I'm looking at it as an enhancement.
I do.
To
Well, it's a huge difference
high-quality
of opinion, and I highly
property.
doubt you're going to find
Yeah,
many
I
people to
know.
agree with you.
I think that you're looking at it from your particular point of view, and God knows you're certainly entitled to it.
I've lived here for 58 years. My family has been here for 100. I remember when that was pig farms. I remember when this township building was on pig farms. I remember the smell of the pig farms.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I do. It was McDonald's or the pig farms.
yeah.
And to take away more open space for a town square on space that is virgin land almost for how many years? To put up a town square, there are other properties in this township that we could potentially work in conjunction
Well,
with
then
developers.
perhaps that's a darn good
not to
idea.
not to
Because in
use
50
township
years
owned.
from now,
Then let's move
without
50 years from
doing
now.
something like I'm referring to, this will still be a transient community with very mature housing and the open space that you are referring to that was a pig farm. So go ahead and chop
me,
at
Mr.
me.
Marcus.
No, wait a minute. You are coming on very
I
strong to
am.
me.
I'm very, very passionate about
Well,
this.
then, that's fine, but relax a little. I'm just here bringing
But
forward
you're
an
bringing a
idea.
plan. That is a horrible idea.
Relax a little, you know, it's
Excuse me.
very
Sorry.
aggressive.
That is, I'm sorry,
You're
this is something.
really aggressive.
This open space our mayor got for us is not
Unfortunately,
acceptable.
you are a very
Sir, you
aggressive
realize you're talking
person.
to council, right?
Exactly,
You're supposed to talk to council with respect.
Oh,
You're supposed to
I would
respect her. She
expect the
has a
same.
right to speak. Are you going to let me speak now?
I would like the same.
Are you going to let me speak?
Sure,
All
absolutely.
right, good. You don't come in here and demand things of council and tell council what you want done. If council doesn't agree with you and council doesn't want to do it, then that's the way it goes.
That
So
is
that's
the
just
way.
it is. So don't tell her that she's being obnoxious and nasty and this and
I
that.
didn't say that.
You have a right. You're coming on really, you're telling her
No, I don't-
she's coming
I
on
don't-
strong. You're coming on stronger than her. So let's end this and be done with it.
That is
If this is
absolutely
something
fine.
council doesn't want to
That
do,
is
then council's not
absolutely
going to do it.
fine. But I believe
We don't
that,
care what you believe. It's what we believe.
oh, that's interesting.
May I interject, please? This
That's
is getting a little
interesting.
out of hand. With all due respect, Mr. Norquist has, I think, done a great job with the economic development
committee, and we've talked before, we've all had conversations before. I think that the mentality here is, yes, we all agree that we would like to have destination point, right?
Yeah.
A Main Street feel, somewhere, I don't want to have to go to Peddler's Village, I don't want to have to go to Newtown.
That's right.
To enjoy the space that we have here. So while we agree that this space needs to happen, and I think we would support your request if it were, one, not as what I thought was also overdeveloped, with the images that you were showing, that was a little bit too much for.
Sure.
Personally, I think we all want to maintain this suburban lifestyle. So this overdevelopment and crowding and concrete is not what we want our town to feel like, even on a main street that's recreational and a destination point
Right.
for our residents. It needs to incorporate the beauty that we have,
There
the
you
natural
go.
beauty that
There
we
you
have,
go.
very much so. And I know we've talked about the riverfront before, and that was mentioned in your slide. So I don't think it's, no, we don't want to talk about this. I think that this just is not the location. While it is central to the township, we do have a central park. All of our emergency services are in this area. We don't need to overcrowd this area. There is recreation in this area. Perhaps we should consider where else we might be able to look at a plan like this and take it down a notch to look at it from the scope of a suburban feel. You know, would you agree? I know, and I know you're very passionate. We have these conversations all the time.
1974 suburban, this 1974 thing from Peony, from an urban development, that is when Bensalem got so much development, so many apartments, so many housing developments, tight, Neshaminy Valley. We don't need more of that. We as a township, our residents are constantly telling us, we don't want it.
Yeah.
And I don't want to take away what we have as open space. That is open space for our residents to use, open space, and our residents are people residents and our animal residents. And that's why I'm very passionate about it. So I am sorry I kind of got a little bit huffy, but this property, in my opinion, is off limits. That's my opinion. I don't know how other
I
council
wish
members.
that you would have just said that.
Yeah.
So I think that
That's
is.
all.
Can I comment?
Yeah,
If it's okay?
you can. Oh, of course. I'm sorry. I'm not the only council
I don't
member.
want to keep beating a dead horse or a dead pig for that matter. But anyway, but.
I remember the pig farms.
Yeah, I know people that own the pig farms. My brother's married to one. But,
So back to-
Pig?
but, no, a pig farmer.
Okay.
But, no, I really think that the town center concept, I mean, it's hard to, but I don't think this is a good location for it personally, you know, besides the woods. I think across the street, they built houses already across Byberry Road. There's a field there, but I think there's a lot of water in the back of that. 'Cause I remember when they put those houses in, there's a lot of water back there. That field behind there, it's taken too much woods, I would agree. And it's not really congestion-wise something that would, in my opinion, would make a good town center location. And I think that if you were going to do something like this, I would rather see it done in Andalusia, like, whether it's personal property or not that we'd have to buy, and take some of those cigarette stores and make them into a town
Along
center.
13 would be a perfect
Or
main
Route
street.
13 is actually, if we look at the history of the township, Route 13, where Thomason's Funeral Home is, and my father's doctor's office was across the street.
Agree.
That was a bank, and that was the town center, and there was actually a phone company there that my godmother, a post office. That's where the town center was. Where Apollo Pizza was the Maud post office, that my grandfather was eventually the postmaster of. So that's where the history of Bensalem is, and whether you have to buy personal property or not to make the town center where it really was, where Cornwall's Fire Company is, incorporate along that strip. That's why they got the gas lights put in. That's why they got the sidewalks put in.
Yes.
That was all done already, so I think something like that would probably, in my opinion, would be a
We have our Memorial Day parade
spending-
down 13.
Yeah, would be,
That's-
that's the true town center, if there's gonna be a true town center. I'm not saying I would go along with anything you wanted to do along there, but I think that revitalizing Andalusia or making
Agreed.
it Cornwall's generated along Route 13 where Holy Ghost Prep is, where they redid Brown's Beverages, they put in sidewalks, they put in gas lights, where the old Cherries used to be, whatever that thing's called now. So that all along there would be a better option, I would think, for a town center. That's just my opinion.
Well, part of this is a feasibility analysis, right? So this isn't just us saying, hey, we want it here. It's experts coming in and looking at all of this information that have done this before in other areas. So I don't know why we're kind of pigeonholing ourselves into any particular property. Shouldn't the analysis be broader?
Well, all I can do is tell you that the notion was brought up at the EDC, and this property looked to be viable. So they made an offer. Nobody is dictating what they want to do. They're offering to fund and orchestrate something.
I think it's a waste of money.
I think that money could be put somewhere else in a better, that would actually
Well,
improve the community.
that would be, they would be very open to
Yeah.
hearing that. I mean, it's just a very simple thing, isn't it? You
Yeah,
know,
I think
we
so.
don't think that this will work.
Mr. Norkus, the
So,
people-
so why don't we talk about another place? Because it probably might be a good idea.
Sure.
That's all.
That's all we should do.
That's all, but I just
That's
want you to
all.
understand why this, for me,
As long as I'm on council, and if I, as a resident, I would definitely be against any of this being
Well,
developed.
okay, thank you.
What,
That's all I needed to hear.
what would be the cost, by the way?
What
to
would be the
conduct
what?
What would be the cost to conduct the comprehensive plan?
A feasibility
Yes.
analysis? Be considerable over a long period of time. And that's why I suggested, for two reasons. If you had a location in mind, you could take and do it incrementally. Don't go too deep at once. Start off in a phase sort of thing. And how much would it cost if you went the whole route? It depends on who you use. I have talked to Senator Ferry about it because the state is willing to fund a lot of studies like this. So, you know, we could probably get the thing paid for.
Is the
So that's
purpose of the
something that I
town,
would
I'm sorry,
want
is the
to-
purpose
I'm
of the
sorry.
town center to attract people from outside of Bensalem?
Absolutely.
And be entertained and that type of a
enough land.
thing? Or have restaurants there? Or is it to have housing there? Or what is it, what is the purpose of having this town center in Bensalem?
Well, I go back to identity. We are a township. And if we were to say, why do we want to come to Bensalem? I think most people would say Parks Casino.
Sure they would.
And that's it. It's not a
Pretty
community.
big it.
But it's not a community, and we've heard that over and over again. So what we're trying to do is look at a community-centric spot where typically a town center or a town square would attract people, and they would want to come back over and over again. And yes, restaurants are a great draw. So, listen, on behalf of the EDC, all we wanted is the opportunity to introduce the concept to you. And if you have other thoughts in mind, then we'd be willing to entertain it, but we'd also be willing to fund it.
Do you realize that Street Road and Knights Road is the most dangerous intersection in the state of Pennsylvania?
Absolutely.
And you're going to put all this traffic here that's got to go down to the street in Knights, or has got to go down to Unionville Road, down to Street Road, or down to Mechanicsville Road. That corridor is probably one of the most dangerous in the state of Pennsylvania. So why would we look to put something that's going to bring in all this more traffic into an area that's already overblown with traffic and a problem?
Well, I don't have an answer for that. I'm not an engineer or consultant that deals in that sort of thing. And I would reserve that opinion for somebody up front. And that's why I said incremental, because you would want to deal with the most formidable objections right up front. That doesn't mean it can't happen with some sort of plan, but I'm not the one to have the answer for that.
So why would you present a plan of something like this if you haven't looked into all those things that this would cause? That's what I don't understand. I mean, it's a nice plan, it's nice to look at. A different place in Bensalem would probably be fine. A Main Street, it's not a Main Street area like Andalusia 13 or State Road down on the riverfront or something like that. I just don't understand why we're trying to cram 10 pounds of crap in a 5-pound bag. You can't make that happen, and we do that too much in this township. If we've had a well-thought-out plan and looked at, before it even came in front of us, looked at what the traffic's going to be like, look at what the easy, how can people get here? 95, Route 1, these are all things that you have to think of before you even think about putting a full-blown plan in front of us. How do we do that? How does the EDC do that? Before you come with something like this that's hitting a stone wall right away, how do we make this happen so that you don't hit that stone wall? You'll get things that people want to see, what the council wants to see, what the elected officials talking to their residents want to see. I think that would be a better way to work at this, and I think that if you would have come to council with this, you know, had an executive meeting or something that talked about this, I think you would have had you wouldn't have the animosity and trouble that we have with this right now, and I think we could come up with a better plan if we all worked together and did this together, because there's many places in Bensalem that something like this could be done.
I think the concept of a town center may be unique to Bensalem in that it cannot be, the infrastructure of Bensalem Township is already in place. It's not as if you're going up to Buckingham and saying we have all this open space and we can design this and design that and have it accordingly. Like as Mr. Knowles had said, even if you did something in Andalusia, it would have to be a hybrid of an actual town center, because you have Route 13 is a highly traveled through route that you can't be having people walk around on other than special occasions, and even at that I think it would be rather difficult. You have Street Road, which Mr. Plary just commented on, even though that may be an outside possibility. You have traffic coming out. I mean, it's I don't know how many thousands of cars travel, 200,000 some cars a day or something like that, travels the route of Street Road. And then, of course, you have the mall, which is open space of sorts, where you could possibly consider something like that. But I think the actual concept of a town center has to be, it's going to have to be some type of a hybrid of that concept, unique to Bensalem itself. It's not going to be like a Bristol, because it's not going to be on the river, unless we could put something down on the river, which the mayor would love to see, of course, and we would all love to see, but I don't know if that's, like you said, we run into a problem with the cost of the land down there at this point. But we appreciate you coming forward, giving us a presentation, accepting the criticism as presented to you, with the reality of what we're not interested in. And we're not interested in the open space. And I was wondering about that also when I'm looking at that. And of course,
It's preserved open space. How can we change it?
well, we can't. We can't. I mean, the county provided us with money and for some of that space, and once something's deemed open space, I think it's rather difficult to change that. I'm not sure, but I would think that'd be the case. But appreciate your time. Thanks for coming before
Can
us.
I have another, I'm sorry. Mr. Norquist, have you met with our township engineers to talk about what options
No,
there
I
might
would be
be?
circumventing you people by going to an engineer or conducting, if the EDC was to conduct an analysis on traffic for a town center in Bensalem, that would be circumventing you.
Well, Nicole and Phil Worsta are with us. I mean, they're with the township. So I would think that it would be appropriate to schedule some time with them to discuss what the options might be.
Not after talking to you, only after talking to you folks. It's just me.
Well, would that be
Appreciate it
appropriate?
If you would talk to them, because they
Yeah.
understand the traffic implications in a site like this. They understand the space in a site like this. And to be honest, the people, and I like everybody on the EDC, but not everybody on the EDC are residents, correct? So they wouldn't understand.
Actually, I don't
Correct.
know.
That
They
is
would not
correct.
understand the implication of these properties you're referring to.
Right.
And that is why I am upset. To be blunt again, I'm upset.
Yeah.
This is, to me, this is our town center. This is our township center. It's not our town center. This is our municipality area. And I don't want to see that space taken. And since it is preserved, it can't be. So I don't want you to spend one dime on looking at this. site.
Advice well taken. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Bob.
You did, I'm sorry. It's, just don't want to see time spent on something not worthwhile.
Okay, we're going to move on to agenda item number, now that we're
My Irish got up.
ramped up, I
No,
know
we're
we
number
are.
8, aren't we?
Now, we're on number 9. This is considered, I agree with you, I was going to say the same thing, I agree. It was becoming confrontational is what was happening. This is consideration of public hearing on an ordinance. This is vacating and abandoning a 10-foot alley on Clovernook Avenue between Bucks County tax map parcel, which we did mention once before, 02-061-179 and 02-061-184. Okay, sir, you'd like to come up now?
And Mr. Kisselbeck, while the gentleman's
sorry.
coming forward.
Yes, please do.
For the edification of the public, this matter, since the proposal involves the adoption of an ordinance by the Township Council, if council is of a mind to grant the application. A hearing on that ordinance and on the potential vacation of this ordinance was first scheduled and advertised for June of this year, for a council meeting, I believe, of June 24th. That council meeting was postponed, and all items that were to be heard at that meeting were in fact brought before council at your meeting of July 22nd. The hearing on this matter began on July 22nd, and it was determined that the applicant inadvertently had not provided notice to adjacent property owners as to the proposal to vacate the alleyway. And so the matter was tabled to this evening to afford the applicant the opportunity to get those notices out. And I trust he has proof of having done so with him today, and if he could hand that up, I would appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. We have it here, certified letters that were sent to these adjacent property owners. All but one had been received. However, the one that did not receive the certified letter did respond to our email, and I do have a copy of his email here acknowledging that he is in favor of the alley to be vacated. So I'll hand that up now.
Right.
All right, if you'd be kind enough, in your own words, give us an idea what you want to do and why you want to do it.
Sure. There's a 10-foot wide alley that runs through essentially between Clovernook and Williams Street, down adjacent to the I-95 corridor, the very end of the street. This 10-foot wide alley runs through 2 residential properties on Clovernook, and it also runs through 2 residential properties on Williams. We are proposing to vacate only the we own 2 lots. It's up there on the screen. The one that shows that proposed home, and then the one directly behind that, which is larger, it's wider. We're proposing to eliminate only the portion of the alley that's between our 2 lots there. The reason that we want this is because we don't have enough space to put the size home that we're proposing to build on that first lot that you see up there on the screen, and this 10-foot of additional space would afford us essentially to meet our setbacks, our rear yard setback to be able to place a home where we want to place it. So we are tight on space, and we need that 10-foot to be able to meet the guidelines of the building department.
So in other words, to help you in the zoning aspect, you're expecting to vacate this property. Is that correct?
Yes, to vacate the alley and only.
How do you get to these properties anyway?
Well, there's not a road built.
Okay, that's a problem.
Yeah. So that's what we're proposing here up on the screen, is to pave in only a portion of the paper street, and then that turns into our driveway where the home is. So that's the current plan, is to pave a portion of this paper street that has not been developed yet.
Which portion?
It's the portion that comes off of Clover Nook Avenue.
So you have Trailer Avenue or Hopkins Avenue.
Yes, it's trailer.
So what portion of Trailer?
It's the portion that is adjacent to Clover Nook Avenue.
From between Clover Nook and, what's the
It doesn't-
street?
it-
And
it-
Williams
Yeah,
in full?
that isn't part of our proposed plan
So
yet.
what is specifically?
Only
the
a
road?
portion of it. So it doesn't go all the way through to Williams Avenue.
So you're proposing that you would just put a street in front of the parcel
Correct,
on Taylor or Trailer Avenue?
correct, to get us into the building entrance.
So how would you get there from Clover Nook or Williams if you're only building road frontage in that section?
From Clover Nook, yeah. Clover Nook is paved all the way down.
Okay,
There's actually two houses on Clover Nook at the very end. Trailer Avenue is just beyond the second house up.
Right.
Towards Route 13. And so we're going to pave in a portion of that road there at Trailer Avenue. And
Trailer Avenue is off of 13, did you say? I thought it was off of the I-95.
No, the second house up towards Route 13.
13 and I-95 between them.
Paper street right now.
Right, okay.
So, Ed, can I ask a question? So,
Sure.
Sure.
I thought I was talking to the engineer, since you kind of filled me in earlier, Nicole. But off of Clover Nook, I was understanding is a paper street now, and you were going to take it to the front of your smaller lot, okay? And then put a driveway through that lot, and then build a house on the bigger lot? Is that your plan?
No, we're only utilizing one of our lots. We do own two lots, but the rear lot is essentially wetland, so we can't build there. So, but to answer your first question, yes, the driveway is on our first lot, so it is.
Okay, so it's not to get to the second lot, because that's wetlands, that's not going to be buildable, the bigger
Correct.
lot. So you're going to come up Trailer, and then you have a frontage on Trailer, 100 foot, so you'll go past that, and then you're going to build on that lot, but have an additional backyard of 10 feet on that lot to help you with your building on the front lot on Trailer.
That's correct.
Okay, so my question to you is Trailer, because I thought Trailer was just, I don't go back there too much because it's kind of like, you know, between Route 13 and 95, but is Trailer I thought it was, you had to pave the whole thing, but you're saying it's partially paved already?
It's not partially paved already. We want to partially pave it. That's our current plan. It's been submitted to the township. They have approved it. There are items that aren't approved. It might change in the future where we might choose to pave it all the way through from Clover Nook to Williams Street. But currently, our plan that has been submitted to the township is only paving a portion of that Trailer Ave right away, that paper
Okay,
street.
well, I'm not an engineer, but just to ask you, do you realize that if you put a street in, you're going to have to put a street in that the township not approves the street, and also like a fire truck would have to get down, right?
Yeah, we're aware of all that. And we're working with the township to meet those
Okay,
requirements.
and my question is, if we gave you this easement, or this vacated area of this alley, and then you don't get a street because you won't do it, it's too much money to do it the way the township wants you to do it, then you're going to get no house there, right? You understand that, right?
I'm 100% aware of that, yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure, okay.
So there is no plan for the back lot? I don't understand why we're not just making that one large lot then.
Well, there's additional money that would be required to combine those two lots. We don't know what we want to do with them yet, but we are we're in a good position to have owned both, because if we vacate that portion of the alley, the entire 10-foot is ours to utilize on that front lot where we're building, and we need that 10-foot.
But you can't get to the back lot because there's an alleyway that's 10 foot wide?
It doesn't mean we can't get to the back lot. We can later on, if we decide to combine the two lots or subdivide them again, we can write an easement in that allows us to. If you look up at the screen, there's a big portion of the land that's not being built on, that front lot. We can essentially add.
A flag lot?
No,
The
you
front-
build another road off of Hopkins, I guess you said.
Just an easement, essentially just a driveway that gets you back to the back lot.
I think we denied one of them, didn't we?
Well,
If that's the case, even if it was denied, it's not the order of business that we're here to, see.
I understand that, I just want you to be aware of that for the future.
well, you can't have a flag lot, you understand that, right?
Yeah, I understand
so-
that.
And an easement's making somebody else pay the
And not to
taxes,
be,
so.
I just wanted to clarify another point you had said. You had said that you're not using the back lot because it's wetlands. But now you said you might use the back lot if you can get it off of Hopkins. So are you building on wetlands if you get it off of Hopkins, or there's enough in the front that you would be able to build?
No, it's wetlands. We have no intentions on building on the rear lot whatsoever.
Okay, well then, you just said, okay.
So you mentioned when you first got up here that you needed the extra 10 feet in order to get the size house that you want. So comparably, what could you build now? And if you were to get the 10 feet, what's the goal? What do you want to build, size-wise?
It's a 2,500 square foot home. We only want to build that one home that's up on the screen. And the size, the width of the home is 30 foot. The depth of the home is 53 foot. With that additional 10 foot, it allows us to meet our 25-foot rear yard setback.
If we vacated this 10-foot property for you, would you be willing to agree that you would not build on the other property, 184? Would you agree to that as being part of the vacated agreement?
I would just kindly ask why I would be restricted to not be able to build there in the future if,
Because it's wetlands, and you really can't anyway. So we're saying we're not going to give you a variance to do so in the future, and you should acknowledge that.
I am acknowledging it. I don't have any sense to do it. And sure, I would agree to it. That wouldn't be an issue. But I do
Then you
think
should just combine the two lots.
it does cost extra money to combine those two lots.
How? Just from a deed
Just
perspective?
engineering fees and recording fees, and have to hire a lawyer to combine the two lots legally.
But it gives a person who's buying that a larger space to have as their land.
Correct. I mean, there's an individual here who's possibly wanting to buy that lot as well. So that lot is directly behind their home. It could also expand their rear yard as well. So that's why I'm saying, at this time, I don't think it makes much sense for me to combine the two lots, but if that's what you guys want to see done, I'd be open to it, sure.
Because we have to hear from the rest of the residents. Yeah, and she wants to.
Nicole, do you have anything to add to where we're at in this conversation? Any thoughts on this on your part?
I would say, I understand what this land development is. Right now, it's a 1,500 square foot home. He does not meet the setback on the existing site. That's a zoning variance if that was, to be given, if he went in front of the ZHB. But vacating the lot, the other two parcels do not use that paper street right now. There's a fence. It's just open space between those two homes that are existing on Clovernook.
So the other question that I have in terms of Mr. Knowles' comment about the street and about emergency vehicles, Mr. Pizzo, the fact that this dead ends actually becomes an issue from a plowing perspective and as such, correct? It almost is like Wagon House Lane, which is a private street and does not get plowed. It's never been dedicated, but that has been 100 years there, so that's been grandfathered in. But this would be the same thing.
I don't think this would get dedicated.
So
won't
you would be
speak to-
willing, if they kept the two different properties, to be willing to accept that you would not be able to build anything on that second property, is that correct? Without combining it into one property?
Yes, I'd be willing to do that.
Okay. And the reason is you think the other people on the left side of it or the other side of it may be interested in purchasing that in a later date
That's correct.
for running around in wetlands? Whatever.
Whatever, yes.
Okay.
However they want to use that land.
What's that? Well, you can deed restrict. I don't know about the second property. I have to ask
Well, it
Mr.
depends.
Paizo on that.
We have to,
Mr.
Thank you.
Paizo, how would we hold that agreement if the larger parcel were, I don't know, deed restricted?
I might as well just donate to the township and get the tax write-off. Why not donate it?
I'm not entirely sure I understand
Why not?
the question. The proposal in front of you would have the center portion of the 10-foot wide alley vacated.
That's number one,
And
correct.
the portion that abuts the other properties in the area, the portions that abut the other properties in the area would remain. Once we're counsel to vacate that 10-foot wide strip that's immediately adjacent to Lot 179 and Lot 184, there's nothing that would be an impediment to those two lots being merged. And it's a relatively simple process of recording a new deed that would eliminate the lot line and merge the two lots into a single lot, if that's what the applicant proposed to do. Since you can't condition what you're doing, because what you're doing is being done by way of an ordinance, and there aren't conditional ordinances.
Okay.
Then what you would require is, instead of the legal description and deed that you currently have before you for Lot 179, to now be a lot free and clear of that alleyway, you would ask for a deed that would effectively create a single lot, 179 merged together with 184. If council isn't going to require that, again, what you do need to take into consideration, and I believe you are taking into consideration, is that I don't know that the rear lot, Lot 184, would ever be accessible from Hopkins Avenue, from what I'm hearing.
Is the wall there or something? 95?
And so while there is a paper street, you're not legally creating a landlocked parcel. You may effectively be creating a landlocked parcel that could only be accessed either by way of the alleyway that's shown coming off of Trailer, or by traveling over Lot 179. Again, I hear what council's saying, that you're creating a large, again, not legally, but effectively landlocked parcel in the back that's only accessible by one of several paper streets or paper alleys. And if it's somewhere in the future that Cherry Premier Properties is either going to sell that or develop it, then some viable way of access may be something council wants to consider, and I believe council does want to consider, because that's part of your conversation. I don't know if that answered your question, but
Well,
it's an answer
I
to a
think,
question.
I think I agree with the original thing that Mr. Tisselback was pointing out, and maybe this is, okay, if we vacated this ground and you put it on the front lot, okay, then you would have enough room to build the size house you want, okay? And if you, like Mr. Paizo just said, if you remove a lot line and make that one lot, it doesn't cost that much, okay? It's not a lot of money, okay? It's just a matter of getting it done deed restriction. Okay, so then you would have one big lot. Now, if you can't build on it anyway, because it's wetlands, and you can't get to it from trailer because it's backs to 95, then the only thing you would do is have a giant yard for the person you're building a house for. And then if the neighbors ever wanted to buy part of that or something, then you would have to come back in. And if they didn't want to give you enough money to make it worth your while, then they could subdivide the back of the lot and get a bigger yard. But that would be a separate process, right? Otherwise, and I'm not an attorney, but I'd be uncomfortable creating a lot that is not accessible except by a paper street that can never be used because of 95. And then we're creating a hardship that someone could come in and say, listen, you created this hardship, so now you got to give us this alley because you landlocked my ground.
However,
So I'd rather have one big lot.
Right, I was going to say,
If you don't-
however,
if you don't like it, then you don't like
if it
it,
were
but
one
that's-
lot, then that wouldn't apply. You're
Yeah,
absolutely right.
but just make it one big lot.
Can I add something to that?
The other thing is, who's going to maintain the wetlands lot if it's landlocked in there? The person that owns the house isn't going to maintain that lot. Who's going to maintain that lot? How's it going to be maintained, or is it going to end up on the township to have to maintain that lot? I think what we're looking to do here is going to cause a big headache down the road if you're not willing to do the whole lot at once, since you can't build on it anyway. Why have a lot sitting there that's just wetlands and nobody's taking care of it?
Yeah, okay, well, I was basically, I was stuck with this problem from the day I purchased them. That's why we're trying to develop them, which I think can only make the situation better. But going back on the, creating a landlocked lot situation, if we leave everything and don't build as is, both of those lots are essentially landlocked as well, because we only have a paper street on trailer, which we're looking to develop, looking to pave in. So I don't think we're making the situation any worse by allowing me to vacate that portion of the alley and put a house there. We are paving in a portion of that trailer avenue.
Okay,
And-
can you answer my question? Who's going to take care of the wetlands if you leave that as a lot? Whose responsibility is that going to
The
be?
property owner, which would be
But you
me.
don't have a property owner.
How are you gonna get to
You're the
it?
property owner.
There's a paper street down along the I-95 corridor as well. It's Williams, I'm sorry, that's not Williams, it's another paper street, Hopkins.
Right, but who's going to maintain it? You own it. You own it. No other neighbors own it. You own it, so who's
So
going to maintain it?
there, just in
Well,
my opinion.
I have been maintaining it since I've owned it.
When we reviewed the land development, our office, the initial was to build more homes. He does not meet the rear yard setback to put, as the existing condition is right now, if he came in to put a single-family dwelling, he wants to develop trailer, which is a paper street, up until the driveway for the smaller lot that's up front that would have access created using Trailer Avenue. The back lot does not have access right now, and he owns both of those lots. He's asking you to vacate so he can build, instead of a 1,507 square foot home, he'd like to build a 2,500 square foot home on the tiny lot and have the rear yard setback. He does not want to combine the two, he wants to leave them separate.
But we want to combine.
I understand, but I'm just explaining to you the difference of what we see.
But if we say, or I say, I should speak for myself, if I say, I'm personally not voting for it unless he combines the lots, and, because he's saying I can't build on it because it's wetlands, and then later on, he's gonna be taking us to court and saying it's not wetlands, and bad, But so I would, not you personally, I'm just saying, builders in general, but I would prefer that he just makes one big lot, because he can't build on it anyway, and he wants to sell a piece of that lot to one of his neighbors later on, he can cross that bridge when he comes to it. If he doesn't like that, I'm not voting for it, so if he, everyone else can do it, I could lose 4-1, but, that's my opinion.
Mr. Pizzo, let me ask you, this is a chicken and egg scenario. Would he have to combine the two lots together, make it one lot, and then have this property vacated, this paper street, or would he have to have the paper street vacated first and then combine the lot into, two lots into one?
And then I have a question for Mr. Pizzo.
In this instance, the proposal that's in front of you, the petition that's in front of you, does not envision and does not require the merging of the lots.
Correct.
So at a minimum, the ordinance and the agreement between the township and the Cherry Premier Properties that have been submitted to you, in my opinion, should be revised to reflect that with the vacation of the alley, the two lots are going to be consolidated. And that would be the egg, I guess, that comes before the chicken. That you would want to get all of that in place as part of the petition in front of you before you adopt the ordinance.
And
Because
you could
right
do it-
now, adopting the ordinance would not require those lots to be consolidated into a
Correct.
single lot.
But could he do that? Could he combine the two lots, even though that there's a paper street going through that lot?
Could he do that now?
I'm sorry.
No.
Huh?
No, but could he come in front of us and say, vacate this because now the ordinance says I'm gonna make it one lot because I changed the ordinance, or I changed what I was saying I'm gonna do.
Sure.
That's what you have to do with it, I think. You can come back to us and say, I'm vacating this lot and I'm making it one lot as part of the ordinance.
And
And then we can vote on
if
that.
if I may offer, I see there are a number of people in the audience that I assume are here for this. Perhaps hearing from the surrounding property owners may give you some additional insight as to the conditions out there and what may or may not result from the council taking the action.
Okay,
that's
Stacy
been
has a
requested.
question. Let me allow her to ask her question, then we'll go to
So,
the audience. Do you have anything?
If we did vacate this alleyway,
Yes.
why would we not vacate the alleyway for the other two properties? It seems rather silly to have these alleyways if there's really no use, with no way really, because we're not going to create any flag lots. It's not large enough really to be a road. Now, when this was probably done in the 1940s, when these lots were all sold, would you expect, Mr. Knowles, that this is all?
You're asking me, and I'm not an attorney, but I
I'm
think-
just saying, do you remember
Well, no,
this was
yeah, I
all
do.
done in the
But I
40s?
think the answer is
I
that
just don't-
because there's a cost involved for each of those homeowners to vacate that part of the lot. So a person has been living down there for years and years and years, and their yard's big enough, and they're cutting it for free, they're like, why should I vacate it and pay an engineer to draw all these plans just to take a piece of ground that I don't really need? So that's why you don't vacate the whole thing.
That would make sense. I appreciate the,
Is that correct or incorrect?
No, that is certainly correct. The other aspect of all of this, to your question, Mrs. Champion, as to the portion of the 10-foot wide alley that remains on Plan Right, on the right side of the plan, coming in from Clover Nook. In theory, at some point in the future, that could be used as access from Clover Nook to get to the rear of Lot 179. Now, with Cherry Premier owning both lots, it would not, as it's drawn right now, provide frontage or access to Lot 184.
Especially if you combine it.
But if the fact that both properties are owned in common, I guess something could be done to create that as an access point for Lot 184. As to the other side, at the moment, if I understand the topography out there, Trailer Ave does not extend all the way to is not opened right now all the way to the 10-foot wide that runs north-south on the plan. But that north-south and that second portion on Plan Left would all be access to Lot 184 in the future, where somebody, to come to the township to say, Township, I want you to open these paper alleys and allow me to use them as access, and I'm going to come in
if
and
they're
pave
widened.
them. Or
for emergency services.
whatever conditions you would require for them to be opened and paved. But in theory, those would still provide access to 184, in theory. practically speaking, I don't know that that would ever happen, but at least on paper, it could.
All right, let me go to the audience. Would anyone like to come and comment on this proposal? Please do come up, sir. Would be kind enough if we allow them to come up here. You can sit down, relax, right there. Thank you. And we need your name and your address, and you can make your comments on your reason for being here this evening.
My name is Cynthia Caldrick. I'm at 845 William Street, which is adjacent to the alley of Hopkins Street. Can you picture that?
Okay?
All right. My question is, the alley that he wants to close up and take a part of actually comes in between my house, all the way across between Clovernook and Williams. But my biggest question is, once this is all okayed, behind my property to the left, 2 lots were sold, teeny little lots for peanuts. So later, are they going to try to open up the other end of this Taylor Trailer Street to make a run through completely? Because my neighbor lives on that, and he's presided, I've been there almost 40 years, and he's pretty darn close to me. We both have paved driveways, we have sheds, we have fences, never bothered anybody, just done whatever we're supposed to, which this alley that runs behind us, there's another 10-foot alley that runs behind us. Not the south to north, it's east to west that is connected with us also. So at that point, we're entitled to part of that alley too, correct?
I'm sorry, what's your address again?
I'm at 845 Williams Avenue. Hank, what's your address? 857. Hank is at 857. We're both on Williams. There's an alley behind us also.
Is your home
Right next to
I'm at the
abutted to
dead
the
end of the
larger
95
lot?
right on the wall.
Okay, so that's 845,
Correct.
and the other's 857.
Right. But there's
You
a
got it.
house in between us.
Right, 847.
And there's an alley that goes
Yep,
right behind us, and
Yep.
then there's the alley you're talking about. I believe you said it was north and south. I'm not sure. I'm getting a little confused.
Me too.
I'm sorry, ma'am, what's your address again?
845?
William?
Correct.
It's at the very bottom?
I'm
On
at
the
the
left
very
side?
bottom on the left.
right here.
That's me.
She says that's-
Yeah, I got it.
that's a house.
Oh,
847.
Right, and then there's
857.
Right.
That's it.
right.
So I just have lots of questions,
I gotcha.
and I'm sure 857 William Street has lots of questions too. Once you okay one thing, what's that going to do to us later? Like, yes, they declared, first they said it wasn't wetlands, and then they decided it was wetlands. We had a specialist out, I believe it was 2 weeks ago, or a week and a half ago. She came out of the woods and said it's definitely wetlands. So the thing of it is, if you open up and you make all these decisions, what are we going to do 845 and 857 deal with in 10 years? Like, we've been here a long time. I have 2 sheds I need to replace, and I've been going through this, I think, 6 years now, and they need to be replaced bad, but I'm not going to put the money into it if somebody's going to be plowing them down.
Well, it looks like, I can't speak for the council, I can only speak for myself, but it looks like we're tending towards having one home built on the 2 lots and the 2 lots being combined into one. And giving him the,
Okay, can I show
vacated
you
area
something
that he
on my
wants.
phone that I found on the internet that kind of surprised me? These were the 2 lots sold. I'm assuming this is him, and I don't know what that is.
That's his 2 lots.
Right, and you want him to join them too, which is understandable and that's fine. But these 2 were sold for peanuts. Who sells land for that?
If they're tiny like you're saying, I don't know the exact sizes, maybe the engineer can look, but if they're tiny, then they're not gonna be able to build them, it doesn't matter if they're tiny lots. If they're not the size of a buildable lot, that could be 75, that could be a certain size buildable.
So your house is here.
Correct.
The neighbor that's here tonight is right up here.
Correct,
This is 95,
right.
right?
This is
The lots
Peter
are
Street
75 foot,
Taylor
Joe.
Ave, Clover
Correct.
Oaks are on this side.
Correct.
So he wants
It
to
looks like
take
they are
this section
75 foot
out
wide.
Correct.
And put road frontage here.
Correct.
ones on the
And
right.
then that is totally fine
ones on
with
the
us.
right.
Okay.
Totally fine, because this house here originally owned everything. Somehow somebody came in and bought it, and then came to the township and divided it without notifying us.
I have
So
to
we
interrupt
cannot
you. We can't have a
speak.
private conversation
I know,
here.
I'm
Go.
sorry.
Sorry, sorry.
I understand. It's got to come up to here, and it's got to go through me.
Sorry,
All
I
right. I mean, you're
apologize.
expressing yourself extremely well, we understand what you're saying.
Her map just helped, that's all.
That's helped her. I was just showing her what we're looking at in relation to what she's trying to explain to us. She's saying this was the original property,
Correct.
and then this was all split out. So this is her home, the other neighbor that's here lives here. Obviously, we're talking about this property. And then there were two smaller properties, I think she said,
Well, I don't
that
know
she's
where they
trying
are.
to get to.
Yeah,
Where were the
what-
smaller properties in relation to this map?
They're directly behind 857
On this side?
on Williams.
On
Williams and Taylor Trailer, whichever you want to call it. Right, so
right here.
our question is, what's going to happen with the two smaller lots if they're unbuildable? Why would somebody sell them for what?
Because somebody bought them.
Well, somebody will buy them that didn't know that they were on wetlands.
We don't have that information in front of us, so we could only speculate, but I would be remiss in even guessing what's going to happen.
All right, I just have lots of questions and wondering what's going to happen in the future.
Well, the big question you're answering, I think we answered, is that the gentleman said he's going to build one home. He hasn't agreed yet to combine the property into one, but I think that's where we're going with it, and then giving him the vacated 10-foot property in the middle there. And if he agrees to that, then he'll only have the one home anyway, and we don't have to worry about having any restrictions on additional homes, because I don't know how you would be able to do it, because you can't get in from Hopkins Avenue. I mean, I have I-95 there, I think. So that wouldn't happen. So you have the one little street, I guess it would be called, coming in from Taylor Avenue, and he's agreed to put a street on Taylor Avenue. I think he has anyway, a street on Taylor Avenue. So he looks to me, unless he's not being forthright, but he seems to me that he's going to build one house and hopefully he'll agree to the combination of the one property. And that should be as minimal
So is
amount
he
of-
opening the whole Taylor or Trailer Avenue, or just halfway point to his property?
Probably up to his property, I would think, if he's building it.
Because that's suitable with the neighbors. All right, thank you.
The existing plan, the proposed plan for which is lot 179 on screen and 184, the proposal is to, where it says Clover Nook, that is Trailer Avenue, and he would only develop up to 179, up to his driveway. He would not extend it all the way through to Williams.
Understand.
So that's to answer your first question, it would only
Yes.
go up to the driveway.
Yes, that's my answer.
And then regarding you having to do work, which I believe that you're 02061-183,
Honestly,
is that your part, is that your
I
house?
can just tell you 845 William Street. I don't know my
Yeah,
parcel
Yeah,
number
that's
off.
your parcel there.
That's correct.
So you're saying that you don't want to do your two sheds, just so I'm correct,
Correct.
because you're worried that
I've been
somebody might
waiting.
vacate the alley between the back of your house and the back of 184, which is his property,
Correct.
correct? I
They could only
understand.
vacate half of the street, so you'd have to agree to the other half.
But PennDOT also is entitled to the other half. I've talked to PennDOT about this 6 years ago, and they said it's against the law for them to give away their share of the paper road. If they ever wanted to move that wall, they're going to move it. There was a different person in the council meeting at the time. We're going back some years. I've been through this many times, and that was brought up, and that's pretty much a fact.
You're talking about Hopkins Avenue.
Yes.
Well, I think we're talking about the alleyway. And
Oh,
you're-
I'm sorry,
you're
I'm sorry, I'm
concerned
sorry.
with-
Yeah,
That's
we're
okay.
Sorry.
What we're talking about is on the back of your house where you see that width between his lots there.
Yeah, there's a 10-foot or
There,
8
it's
foot.
actually more because the small strip that we're showing on screen between 179 and 184 is 10 feet. It's actually wider, I believe, between the back of your house and his lot, which is
Yeah,
184.
we were told it was a utility access. That's
So
what
if it's a
we were told.
utility access, that means it's somebody else's property, and that means that there's a utility there. Utility easements, you can't build on top of easements because that's somebody else's access point to get into their infrastructure.
Okay, understood. Understood.
If it's okay with council, we can have, if you would be okay with that, to explain the difference between the lot lines and what she's capable of doing on her parcel. I mean, this is independent, but just for explanation, our office could help you understand, where the limits are.
Okay.
Okay, she can contact you on that? Is that what
Sure.
you're saying?
Yes.
Sure, okay. She'll give you her number, and you can contact her directly, and any other questions you have.
That would
she'll
be
give you-
great.
She'll give you her card.
That would be great.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Nicole.
Yep,
All right, who else would like to come up? I'm sorry, you finished?
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Someone else like to come up? Sir?
My name is Henry Pekash, and I reside at 857 Williams Avenue. I was concerned about how this gentleman's going to access this property because there's a property next to me and to my house. 857, I have no idea what the parcel is.
I think he's
he said
183.
one in between, so he's at Williams and
Trailer.
Trailer.
I was concerned about how this gentleman was going to,
181.
oh, I'm sorry.
He's not going to go down as far as your house, according.
Well, I'm not trying to be smart. I'm not a mechanical engineer, but if he comes off of Williams, he'll be right by my
No,
house.
he's not coming off of Williams, he's coming off of Clover Nook.
Oh, he's going to enter the property off of Clover Nook?
Right, and bring it down to his lot.
Okay. And like, I won't, my fence and stuff, I have a shed and all that will be
He won't
cool?
even touch your property.
Wouldn't touch it.
He won't,
No, okay. That's the only thing I wanted to know. Thank you.
right, I know where he is, right, exactly, okay. Anyone else like to come forward? Okay, I'll close that portion of public comment.
Can I add one thing?
Well, yeah, you're going to add something, sure, you can come up back up.
Okay. Yeah, I just, I wanted to backtrack a little bit on that rear larger lot. I'm wondering how we've determined that it would be landlocked if there's a paper street, Hopkins Avenue, that runs up to it along the I-95 corridor. Is there something that I'm missing, seeing that paper street runs along the corridor where it can't be developed in the future?
Well, it is a paper street.
The paper streets, noise wall cuts in, and it doesn't wind up continuing with the same width if you actually look. That's why on the screen here for parcel viewer, you can see that Hopkins almost ends at the lady who was just here, it ends near her home. The way that 95 cuts up, it doesn't have traditional access to continue Hopkins to develop it. It would not be capable.
Plus, besides, I'm sorry, to interrupt,
Yeah.
but besides the landlocked issue, we're also concerned about the wetlands issue. So we want to make a big lot, and then the wetlands are protected because you're not building one house in front of the wetlands. And then also, like Mr. Clary had said, someone maintains the entire lot. We don't have to worry about you coming back to retain a lot that's in the middle of nowhere, where you're personally not close. I mean, so you'd have to come back and keep maintaining it. You know, so, but the bottom line is, it's not just the access issue, that's one issue. And, but she said, like our engineer said, it's not, doesn't have full access to that road. And the other issue is the wetlands, and it can't be built on anyway. You can also make it one big lot, and then you can maintain, that person can maintain it, and you got one big lot, and if you want to sell it off to a neighbor, you can do that later.
Are you willing to
Okay,
do that?
very good.
I'm trying to conclude this at this point. We have enough information.
Another question.
Okay, Joe, go
Did you
ahead.
buy the other two lots that the lady was talking about? Do you own those two smaller lots?
No, it's a separate owner.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
So
I'm
are
not
you
sure what he
willing to
plans do.
combine the lots and make it into one lot, consolidate it? Because it seems to me that we're going to have to bring this back, we're going to have to table this again, and we're going to have to come back with you with a proposal to consolidate the lots, and within that, vacate the property at the same time.
Yeah, I would be willing to do that. I would
Okay.
only ask if there's any way that we could move forward with a vacation or get some sort of like a partial approval that would allow us to continue our development. We have property owners that aren't here that are adjacent to there that are complaining about our building materials being out, the land not being maintained, so on and so forth. Moving forward with the construction process is, I think, within everybody's best interest here.
You want us to vacate that property without you consolidating the two properties? Is that what you're asking?
Or at least give the building department notice that it is a conditional approval, where if we combine those two lots.
You can't get on your property now to maintain it at all through these easements?
he wants to start building the house.
Yeah, but if he's having stuff dropped off, why can't it be maintained?
I can get on, but there's building materials that are in the trailer I have right away,
I don't think you should.
and trucks, and these
No.
adjacent
We all
property
agree.
owners are complaining about it.
Yeah, we agree
Agree what?
that we're not going to do that.
A couple weeks.
Yeah, unfortunately, we have to do it the way we're proposing it to be done.
Okay,
Sorry about that. I hope we're not inconvenience you to a point, but we're trying to make it work for you. And we
Sure.
have to make it within the rules and regulations that we have to work with.
okay.
Okay? So,
Understood.
Mr. Pizzo, what does he need to do? We're going to just table this to another date, or is this going to be a different proposal? It's going to be a different thing.
So we should vote on this and then bring it back.
Table it. What we're going to have to do is include language in the ordinance regarding the consolidation of lots. And and his engineer is going to have to give us a new legal description for the resultant lot that will be a single lot once we take the.
All right, so we
once
can do it
take
that way.
off.
And then
And
if
again,
it's a-
neither should be, because they have the legal descriptions for the two separate lots. He just
Okay.
needs to
Got
rewrite
it?
it as a.
Yes, I
single.
do. Thank you.
Okay, I'll ask for a motion to table this to a date certain.
What will be the date?
Well, we're into August, the 26th, September 23rd, I would think. I don't think, would you be able to have this completed by September 9th, sir?
I believe I can, yes.
Huh?
Yes, I can.
Is- Okay, we're going to go to September 9th, then. We're putting you on the agenda for September 9th.
Okay, very good, thank you.
All right, everybody got it?
Okay, can I make a motion?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll make a motion that we table the, what number is this now?
Number 9.
Oh, 9, I'm sorry. The consideration of public hearing ordinance vacating and abandoning the 10-foot alley on Clover Nook between Bucks County Tax Parcel 02061-179 and Bucks County Tax Parcel 02061-184 to a date certain of September 9th,
And
24.
Second.
in the interim, as part of your motion, directing that the ordinance and the petition be amended to provide for the consolidation of lots 179 and 184, consistent with the discussions that were had this evening.
Okay, can I do that per your comments, or I have to say it myself? Okay, I'll amend my motion per Mr. Pizzo's recommendation of basing it contingent upon combining the lots.
And I'll second your
We have
motion.
a motion, we have a second. All those in favor signify with an aye.
Aye.
And against, the abstentions unanimous. Okay, thank you. All right, moving right on.
For everyone in the audience, this will be heard again now on September 9, at which point in time the council will consider the vacation, but as part of the vacation, the two lots will now be consolidated into a single lot. That's what will be before council that evening. On September 9th.
If you'd like to make a comment, you can come on up.
They made a comment. I closed the portion. I can do it again. All right, I'm going to take a recess of just a quick moment or two, so we get our heads back together. We are resuming our council meeting. Agenda item number 10 will be the first that we're going to consider at this time, and that is a consideration of a minor land development for Everstory Partners, Humeville Road, and this is Resurrection Cemetery Mausoleum. The institutional zoning, and it's for 02-046-037. And who's representing?
Good evening,
Young
council.
ladies here.
My name is Caitlin Zarnick. I am counsel for Everstory Partners. And I have Mike Urban with me from Eustace Engineering. And we have Don Underwood, who is the area vice president over Resurrection Cemetery, and Riley Gray, who's the assistant sales manager. So we are here seeking your approval of our new mausoleum that we are building at Resurrection Cemetery. It is a minor land development, as we mentioned, not asking for any alleyways to be removed or building on wetlands. We have interest in another mausoleum at the cemetery, and so we're looking to fulfill our customers' needs.
Not to cut to the chase, but this is within the Resurrection property itself?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay.
It's probably a needed item in the cemetery.
Correct. The existing mausoleum is full. So, for the technical questions, I will
And it's
concede the mic
with-
to Mike.
It's within the portion of the cemetery that's currently being used as a cemetery, correct?
Yes, it is.
All right, so this is a minor land development, Mr. Pazza, so we don't need any certified mail, is that correct?
No, we would still need notices.
Okay, so have you provided that?
I have.
All right, would you give it to our solicitor so he can peruse it? Our solicitor's over here, sir. That's okay. You're holding on to that there pretty tightly. I wasn't sure we were going to give it up. All right. Now, all right, so we have that. He'll peruse that and make sure everything is appropriate. And let us move on to then, we have, well, we have a Traffic and Planning and Design Incorporated letter dated August 20th. Do you have that in front of you by any chance?
August 20th traffic.
Yes.
All right, if we go to the second page, we have subdivision and land development ordinance comments. You're asking for a few waivers, so let's go over that as soon as you find out where you are. Okay? Mm-hmm. And we'll see what we can do. While he's doing that, why don't you give us an overview of what's happening, what you're interested in doing? There's already one there. You want to put another one there. Is that correct?
That is exactly correct, yes.
Okay.
The existing one has no inventory left, and there's still interest from our customers that are requesting mausoleum crypts.
And how many crypts would that include? How many?
There's, I'm sorry.
Hi. It's going to be the twin to the one that's next to the existing building, and there's going to be 120 crypts, 60 singles on one side and 60 tandems on the other side, so 180 spaces for entombment.
Okay, all right. That gives us an idea how big it's going to be. All right, are you ready to go?
Sure. So in this exhibit I have up here now, this is as you can see, the existing mausoleum is located right here. The new proposed mausoleum is located in this area, right here. We're maintaining the 75-foot setback from the existing property line that is here. The proposed mausoleum is about 600 feet from Humeville Road. We are proposing a landscape buffer to complement the existing tree line that is there now, which are very mature, deciduous, and evergreen trees. We are not removing any trees. We are just trying to close off the little bit of a gap in there so that the mausoleum is not visible from Humeville Road.
I appreciate that you're working the computer. Perhaps you could take the handheld microphone, because I'm not sure that you're
this
being
one.
picked up on the podium.
Thanks, John.
Is that better?
didn't realize it was over there.
My wife's going to get pretty, when I tell her that they couldn't hear me, she's going to be, God, you're always yelling, Let's see here. And then we'll go to the next slide. Does anybody have any questions on that? Or
No, that's fine.
okay. Then this next exhibit will be the enlargement of the area. As you can see, the existing mausoleum, the location of the proposed mausoleum with the concrete walk around it. Again, it's about almost 600 feet from Humanville Road. There is a proposed stormwater management facility, a little basin here that's going to handle the impervious paving and the building.
Where is that?
That is right here.
Okay, I see it now. Okay. I see the difference.
And we are proposing some landscaping in the front that faces Humanville Road in addition to the buffer that we are proposing. And last, there's just a little axonometric view at the top there of what the mausoleum looks like. It's roughly 35 by 23 by 13 feet high.
And just to clarify, because it's a sister of the other one, so it's the exact.
Correct.
Okay,
yes.
so, and it looks like it is, but I mean, because I've been at other places where there's like a tunnel in the middle or something, but that's not the case. These are all perimeter driven, perimeter slots or whatever you call them.
That's correct.
Okay.
So I have a question. Not to be crass or anything, but you said 120 or 180 slots?
It's 180 spaces.
Spaces.
But 120 crypts.
Okay.
60 of them are tandem, which can.
So 120, yeah. Do you propose that filling up quickly and looking for a need to have another one built? And it's really morbid, but I'm just, is it too small?
So the other one was built, I want to say right around 2014 or 2015. So it took us about 8 years to fill. So we anticipate something similar to this, maybe a little quicker. Above ground is more popular than it was in years past, especially as space becomes limited in the ground in the cemetery.
And expensive.
But you have those options. If someone comes into you, you have the option of going in a mausoleum or in the ground or...
All those options, yes, sir.
So made available, okay. So
Well,
so
the regular-
160,
I'm
just seems-
sorry, the regular cemetery spots, singles, doubles, triples, whatever they call them, they have a certain amount of ashes that you can bury along with,
Coffins.
regular burials.
Yep, for-
Casket burials.
Casket or cremation burial.
Right.
We can
Or both.
accommodate both in-ground and above ground.
Right. So if someone owns one, they can put the ashes of other people in their family, for instance, with them.
Depending on the number of spaces,
Right,
yes.
exactly.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
It just seems like it'll fill quickly. I know it sounds really morbid. I used to work for an insurance company, so, but it's just, and it's very morbid, but it just seems like 120 or 180. It's life, right?
well,
But
you're saying it is, I'm not saying it, I don't think it's morbid.
If
Some
you need
good
another one, you
questions.
come back in for another one, right?
Yeah, exactly,
yeah, I know.
exactly.
I mean, a certain number of people are going to be buying these now who aren't going to use them, God willing, for years and years to come.
Correct.
They're doing pre-planning, so.
Correct. Okay, now that we're past that,
Morbidity.
stop. All right, she's Irish, she can't help it. She just likes to have, the whiskey and the thing, and off they go. All right, go ahead, sir.
That's it.
All right, let me have the attorney come up then. Okay, here we go. All right, we're on to page 2 of August 20th, 2024 letter. And it's directed towards Kenneth Farrell. And if you go to page 2, you'll have subdivision and land development ordinance comments. Let me know when you have it.
think it's this page 2.
It's the August 20th letter. This is June 3rd.
It's a TPD letter, August 20th.
Oh, I'm sorry. These are our responses to that letter, this page here. Okay.
You ready to go? Okay. We have section 201-41. You're asking for a waiver for all existing sewer lines within 400 feet of the boundaries. This is a waiver request. And Nicole, I'm going to ask you to help me on this one too. This is a waiver request. Would this be appropriate?
Yes, it would be appropriate.
Okay. And then we have B, the location and elevation of all existing and proposed street monuments. The applicant requesting a waiver of this ordinance. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And then section 201-104, street design standards. And you're requesting a waiver of sidewalks and curbs and to not pay the fee in lieu of. That is going to be a problem. Okay. We can probably grant the waiver, but I don't know, why would you want not to pay the fee in lieu of? You would probably be the first one to do that.
I just thought with the nature of the cemetery that it's we're not really proposing any new driveways. It's an existing driveway. By putting curbs, I think it limits the cars, given the nature of a cemetery, to be able to pull off to the sides. Sometimes they pull it off a little bit off the grass. You're not going to block other traffic.
Okay, then, Nicole, how will we calculate the fee in lieu of? I mean, we can't go the whole entire property of
We
that
can't go for the whole property.
Right,
We could look
exactly.
at the size of the land development, and then we could recommend a fee that would be appropriate for the limit of disturbance that we're
Okay,
doing
so it would be
with the
based on
mausoleum.
the 23 by 35 outward construction of it, plus the surrounding concrete and everything, so it would be somewhere in that general vicinity, is that correct?
Well, we would look at the size of the limit of disturbance. So it's not just the mausoleum, we would look at the basin, so
And the
because that's.
basin also,
Because
okay.
it's just, we would make a recommendation for that's appropriate for the size of the development.
All right, so you agree to payment in lieu of, is that correct? Based on those calculations as explained? Yes. Is that a yes?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, and then that's pretty good. We're in pretty good shape so far. Let's go to stormwater management, and that's the comments are at section 196-61, design criteria, storm sewers. You have a minimum grade of 0.5% and a minimum inside diameter of 18 inches, and that's what's recommended. The applicant is requesting a waiver for the proposed concrete pipes, and we support this, it seems, according to the comments I have here.
Yes.
All right, so you have smaller pipes, is that correct? Is that what's happening?
Yes.
Okay, and it won't be concrete, it'll probably be a different material, you think?
Yes, it would
Okay.
be. It doesn't have vehicle traffic, so we would allow the use of HDPE pipe
Okay.
or an alternative source.
Okay, so that would be a waiver you're requesting. And then the minimum and maximum cover, the applicant shall still apply for a waiver. This office supports a request for this waiver, and that's a minimum and maximum cover. A minimum of 2 feet of cover shall be maintained over all storm drains, and you don't need that because there's no traffic.
Correct.
Is what you just said. Okay, and that's a waiver that you're requesting. And I think that's about it that I have. Yes, that's the waivers I have that they're requesting. And-
Yes.
And
Yes.
whoever makes a proposal, we'll put that into consideration. And is there anyone that'd like to come forward and speak on our behalf on this minor land development? Not,
He's talking audience that would speak, and nobody's here against it.
all right, no one's coming forward, and so I'll ask for a you don't need to make a comment. There's no comment, you don't need to make a comment. Okay, here we go. Public comment has been closed. And then how about from our council members? We have some comments from our council members?
There were, I think, 3 additional waivers on the next page regarding environmental protection. Did I miss that?
I see that.
Sorry.
Following request, so we have 1, 2, I counted to 5, and that's what I had come up with, but I
Okay.
see the other 2, environmental protection and open space, to not provide street trees as required, so that would be a waiver you're requesting. Design criteria, 2 feet, we already covered that,
Right, the piping is fine.
and we have
I
that too.
think
So
we just
somehow
missed
we
the one.
snuck in the environmental protection one, which I missed.
Yeah, but in relation to that, in the comments for stormwater management, and in your map here, you talk about retaining the change in runoff volume for a 2-year storm event on site using the infiltration basin, but I didn't see any stormwater
Calculations.
calculations listed in the document. So how do we?
So
Assess
I can
that.
explain that if you guys don't mind. So the land development that they're proposing is less than 1,000 square feet of impervious surface. They are putting in the basin to help control volume for runoff, and it's not a traditional, it's not a need that's warranted. We're doing it as a preventative measure to help manage the change in impervious surface without it being mandated.
Right, it's not required.
Thank you.
Required, that's what I thought, okay.
Right.
Okay, so that was, yeah, we had a question on that before. Okay, any other questions? If not, I'll entertain the motion to be put on the floor.
The Section 201-106, the third waiver, environmental protection open space, to not provide street trees as required. What was the requirement?
Well, I can't imagine being
What is the
anything.
requirement?
So the requirement comes down to when there's a land development. Because this was minor, we would recommend that you would not make them pay a fee in lieu. Normally, when you have a land development, there's the curb and sidewalk as well as street trees.
Street trees.
In this instance, because of the nature and because we're putting in the stormwater adjacent to it, we could recommend that they don't need to pay for the street trees, to pay a fee in lieu, because they would not be putting street trees in. This is not a standard land development.
Okay.
As in the subdivision or neighborhood that's being put.
Did you?
Putting in some shrubs and
Yeah,
stuff.
Right, in the
Correct.
frontage, that's why I was
And that's
throwing me
for the
off a little
buffer
bit,
yard.
because you are putting something in, but more for the coverage of the street view,
Yes.
right? Okay.
Thank you. Yep.
I would think if I were a merchandising person, I'd want to be able to see it from Unionville Road. I mean, it's not ugly, it's a good-looking building. So, okay, that's my comments. Nonetheless, I ask for a motion to be put on the floor. Go ahead.
I'll make a motion to approve the consideration of minor land development for Everstory Partners located at Hume Road Resurrection Cemetery, tax parcel 02046037. Paizo, can you help me with the conditions? I'm sorry.
It's easy, just do all waivers.
Certainly. The conditions would be that waivers are granted from sections 201-41 as to the preliminary plan requirements, 201-104 as to the street design standards, and that would be a waiver of sidewalks, curbs, and cartway widths for the internal road system. But they will pay a fee in lieu of curbs and sidewalks as determined by the, in an amount as determined by the township engineer. I would point out, previously, for land development approvals for this facility in 2007 and again in 2010, council did impose various requirements, not a payment of fees, but that certain curbing and sidewalk had to be constructed. I don't know if that ever occurred or not. So you may, in determining what the amount is, Ms. Khan, go back and look at what the plans, particularly the 2010 plans, required to see if that was ever constructed, because that should be factored into your calculation. So 201-106 waiver of street trees, and I think the determination is that they would otherwise not be required for this project. A waiver for section 196-61 to allow for 2 feet of coverage for drainage pipes, as was discussed during the meeting, and for pipes to be less than 18 inches in diameter, provided they are of pipes of a size and material acceptable to the township engineer. I believe that's everything that would be required to be in your motion.
Thank you. So I'd like to amend my motion to include Mr. Pizzo's comments. Thank you, Mr. Pizzo.
Yeah, you have B2 in there also, Joe. 196-61B, which is the coverage, less than 2 foot.
Yes,
Did you get that one?
I believe so.
Okay.
I didn't mention, and I haven't seen it in the materials, I don't know if this would be subject to an impact fee or not. No, okay.
Right.
Well,
Well, they drive in, but they don't drive out, so don't go for the
people come
PM.
and visit.
Don't go for the
I just
PM
don't know
hours.
if it's during PM peak hours.
Is there?
There's not a traffic component, though, because it's a minor interior
Right.
land development.
That's fine.
For a space that's less than 1,000 square feet.
Okay.
Other people you're visiting, so.
Correct. People are visiting, and it does it's a generator, but it's not that kind of generator.
All right, we have a motion on the floor.
I'll second the motion.
We have a second on the motion. Any additional discussion? All those in favor signify with an aye. Aye. And against, the abstentions? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Council.
Number 11 on the agenda is request for waiver of curbs and sidewalk installation subject to payment of fee in lieu of. We have applicant Tom Snyder, 3390 First Avenue. And B, we have Squire Homes, 2514 Lincolnia Avenue. And the fee would be determined by our township engineers. And I need a motion, A and B. If you want to do them separately, we can do them separately. Tom Snyder, 3390 First Avenue.
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we accept the
Waiver for curbs and sidewalks installation subject to the payment fee of lieu of for Tom Snyder, 3390 First Avenue, tax parcel 02019132001, and Squire Homes Builders LLC, 2514 Lincolnia Avenue, 02007044002.
Nicole, do you have any comments on this?
I do have a comment. I believe that A and B should be separated because A, I was told, should be removed. It was previously collected for
Oh, that's right.
regarding this parcel. So A would be
It was, it's already
not.
done.
Okay, so we still have to vote on it or no?
Oh, sorry, no, it's finished, it's completed.
Okay,
No.
So it's B is going to go for.
B would be the
That's
only
correct,
one.
yeah.
Okay.
I forgot about
Do we have to amend the agenda, or just
No.
anything? No?
no. Okay, so I'll make a motion that we approve number 11, waiver of curbs and sidewalks installation subject to payment of lieu and fee of for the applicant Squire Home Builders LLC, 2514 Lincolnia Avenue, 02007044002. To replace my previous motion, we approve.
All right, we have a motion on the floor.
I'll second it.
Second, all those in favor? Aye. And against, the abstentions, unanimous. 12, consideration of a resolution for Act 537. Good old 537 comes back. Storage Facility Act Plan revision for a parcel of land identified as 633 Dunks Ferry Road. Mr. Pizzo, you want to explain what's happening there?
I do. As council is tasked, this is a previously approved land development for the Bensalem Dunks Ferry warehouse expansion. One of the conditions that council imposed at the time of approval was that the applicant had to secure approvals for their sanitary sewer facilities, and part of that process is to get Act 537 plan approval from the Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection. Part of that process requires the council to approve a resolution authorizing an amendment to the township sewers facilities planning module. Again, this is just pro forma and perfunctory. You made the approval as part of the approval of the plan, and the resolution is just verification to the Department of Environmental Protection that you have authorized it. So the resolution is in a form acceptable for your consideration and approval this evening.
Okay.
I'll make a motion
We have a motion on the floor.
for consideration of Resolution Act, in regards to Resolution Act Number 537, for a parcel of land identified as 633 Dunksbury Road, tax parcel 020758081, as to be approved.
We have a motion.
Thank you.
Second motion?
We do have a second. All those in favor signify with an aye. Aye. And against, the abstentions. And then we have number 13, which is a reduction in fee, Bensalem Township School District. It's from $10,630 to a reduction of 50%, which is norm, which brings us to $5,315. I need a motion on the floor or a question on it.
Make a motion to approve the reduced permit fee regarding the annual fire inspection fees for Bensalem Township School District.
We have a motion on the floor.
I'll second it.
We have a second. All those in favor? Aye. Aye, and against, the abstentions. That is unanimous. And then we're going to work together on this on agenda number 14, which is consideration of Escrow release. Nicole, you're going to help me out on this, if you would. We have A, which is Federation Housing, and that's in the amount of $272,811.73. You want to explain what we're doing here?
So this is a land development that came through the township. We are just starting work, so there's not a lot of work that have been completed. So we feel that the amount to release, $272,000 and some change, is appropriate for the amount of work that has taken place to date so far.
Okay. We have, I need a motion on that to accept.
I'll put a motion on the floor to accept the request of $272,811.73 to be audited by the Finance Department for tax parcel 02003-006-003, Federation Housing on Somerton Road.
Motion on the floor.
I'll second.
Second on the motion. All those in favor? Aye. And against, the abstentions. B was which is 2289 Green Avenue, release number 1, Green and McGinley Avenue, and that's for $25,637.01.
That's an appropriate amount, again, because only a certain amount of work has taken place at the site. We would think that this is an appropriate amount until the more work has been completed, and then the applicant can come look for a second release.
Okay, I ask for a motion on the floor.
I'll make a motion that we release 2289 Green Avenue, release number 1 for $25,637.01, tax parcel 239-104, to be ordered by the Finance Department.
All those, second, I need a second on the motion.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. And against, the abstentions. We have C, which is Dalfo LD, release number 1, and that's in the amount, and that's on Bristol Road, in the amount of $186,825.
We think this is an appropriate amount based upon the amount of work that has been completed at the site to date. It is from a land development that came through the township. Again, this is an appropriate amount based upon the amount of work that has been completed to date.
Okay, and then I'll need a motion on that also.
I'll make a motion that we approve Dalfo release number 1 for tax parcel 2018003 for $186,825 as audited by the Finance Department.
And the second on that motion would be?
I'll make a second.
We have a second. All those in favor signify with an aye. Aye. Aye, and against, the abstentions. That is unanimous again. And D, we have, D is the last one, that's good, which is 2500 State Road Holdings, LLC, release number 3. And that's for $90,923.88. God bless you. God bless you over there. All right, who would, I'm sorry.
It's okay. This is an appropriate amount as well for the work that's been conducted at 2500 State Road. We're still holding a portion of it to have some other work that needs to be, regarding E&S controls as well as surveying. This would be release number 3 for this property.
Now, I want to make sure, we have, on the agenda, it says $90,923, yet that's the amount remaining, so the actual release is for $102,988.95, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay,
It was
I
a
just picked
mistake
it up.
that was put on the council agenda.
okay. So that's the amount, so the remaining amount was $90,000. All right, I need a motion on that also.
I'll make the motion for escrow release number 3 for tax parcel map 02065020 and tax parcel number 0206192 in the amount of $102,988.95 to be audited by the Finance Department.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor?
I'll second the motion.
Second on the motion, all those in favor? Aye. Okay, very good. Okay, moving on to agenda item number 15, which is public comment. Nicole, would you like to say something? You joined us, you did a wonderful job, and we thank you for
She came on
your...
a fun night.
What?
She came on a fun night. It was a
It would have been fun, except for you. Go ahead, would you like to comment or say anything?
No, I appreciate that you guys having me here. We're trying our best to help you guys make, educated and informed decisions and help people within the community. So I appreciate you guys listening and understanding or taking the time to help help our office and our staff.
Well, I think we all agree that you're doing a wonderful job, and we do appreciate everything that you present to us in terms of knowledge and the facts and figures that we need to know. So thank you so much, too. Okay, Debbie, would you like to say something?
I guess I need paperwork signed by the Secretary and President.
Oh, there you
Sit
go.
down, please.
There you go. Thank you. Mr. Pazzo, anything this evening?
Just a reminder that schools are open,
They are.
and so please be cognizant and respectful of the speed zones around the schools and also the school buses when they're stopped to pick up or discharge children. Other than that, happy
All right, and we'll go to our council members. Thanks, Joe.
happy Labor Day.
Happy Labor Day is coming up. My goodness.
Particularly a shout out to all of our friends in organized labor. Thank you for all that they do.
Okay. Michelle, would you like to add?
Yeah, Nicole, thanks for being with us. I know it was an exciting meeting. I'm happy to have you here. First day for a lot of kids today. Good luck to our Bensalem students. Remember that you're on camera when you pass school buses, so follow the traffic laws. Keep our kids safe. Happy Labor Day, and my daughter is going into the trades program at Bucks County Community College, so she will become a laborer. And I'm very excited about that. That's going to be starting in a few weeks. So, yeah, happy Labor Day. Stay safe and happy.
Okay, Joe?
Nicole, it was great having you, and it would be my recommendation that you be here for all the meetings because you can answer the questions that we need asking, and I mean that from a professional standpoint. You can answer every question we have, and it really made things a lot easier tonight.
Okay. I'm sure that Phil would agree with that 100%. Okay, thank you. Joe?
Yeah.
Knowles?
Yeah, quickly, I do think that Nicole did a fine job, and she answers in a clear way that people can understand. So that, I appreciate your help tonight. Okay, so happy Labor Day, which Ms. Benitez added, happy Labor Day. And tomorrow is the police night out, I believe. I forgot, is it 6 o'clock?
I think so.
I believe it's 6 o'clock at the community center, our little central park already that's back there with the community center. this night out at 6 o'clock for the police. It was postponed from
It's right here.
before. Right here, right.
Right here.
Right.
Okay.
At the amphitheater.
Amphitheater, Central Park.
6:30 to 8:30.
6:30, 8:30, thank you. 6:30 to 8:30. And good luck to all the students going back to school, especially in my mind, especially your college students who are going away for the first time, especially if it's your little girl and she's going to the University of Scranton so far away. We wish Mr. Pizzo's daughter good luck. And it's a hard thing, but it's a good transition. And we wish all our students good luck in the school year. Thank you.
My turn.
Happy
your
Labor Day to everybody who works so hard in our country, to all of our union members, tradesmen, everybody. You guys do an amazing job. We wouldn't have the buildings, the bridges, everything that we do have. Thank you to the engineers who helped that, because that is an important part of all of that building, so you're an important part of the trades. So we truly appreciate that. Go Phillies, let's end this season on a high note and take it all the way through October. And I don't have anything else. I think I said enough this evening.
You're fine, thank you. And I'll just add by saying Happy Labor Day, and we especially do love those who work with their hands and get them dirty, because they make the world go around, for sure. So thanks to all our labor members of our society, and God bless you for everything you do for us. That's it. Meeting's over, adjourned.